Welcome to another edition of the Business Brains and the Bottom Line podcast. My name is Paul D'Allegro, coming to you from the Dallas, Texas area. And the reason I say that, our next guest, Rick Yvanovich, is from Switzerland. Well, it's actually not from Switzerland. He lives in Switzerland, but he's from England. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
Yeah.
So
Rick,
before we start,
I'm
going to jump in right here. I'm going to jump in right away, Paul.
All right, go ahead, man. It's your show. Go ahead.
So, before we start, I'd really like to share a core belief that I hold dear. Okay. And that is that we all have the potential to be what I call architects of change. In this world that we all that we live in, it's just constant transformation, constant change. And our task isn't just to keep our head above the water. It's to try and shape the path forward. Every day, our actions, whether they're big or small, they shape our future. And as we discuss stuff today, Paul, I want everyone listening to remember this. You are your brand, and every single decision that you make is part of your own unique story that you are crafting. How you react, how you adapt in the face and innovate in the face of all of this change will define your story and your legacy. So as we dive into our conversation, let's not just think about how we're going to adapt to change, but about how we can define it. Because we're not just a participant, we're catalysts in this ever-changing business as unusual world. So back to you, Paul. Let's get started.
All right. Well, great intro, Rick. You stole a little bit of my thunder, but that's great. So just to give the folks out there a little bit about you, I mean, I'm looking at your resume, pretty impressive. You're an author of many books. You're a master coach, an entrepreneur. You're an accountant, an author, a CEO, CFO, and the list goes on and on. So you've obviously got a ton of experience. Now, I will say this. Experience doesn't necessarily mean sometimes that you're good at something, right? So a little bit, how did you get, you're a coach, you do all these different things, and I can tell you want to help people. You want to help people get the most out of their life and their careers. How'd you get into that? Like what possessed you to start writing books and coaching and doing all these types of things you're doing?
Good question. So reading between the lines, I'm old, but you didn't say that. And I'm not good at certain stuff. Because I'm doing lots of things. All right. Okay. So let's put some clarity around that. Yes, I am a mature person, shall we say? I am a baby boomer. Not quite as old as you.
Yeah, that is true.
But I am a baby boomer. Thought I'd get in that quick. So how did I get stuck into all these things? Well, fundamentally, I actually started off eventually started off as an accountant. I mean, when it came to the crunch leaving school, I didn't make the grade, so do not pass go, do not enter university, you're not allowed in. So I actually took a job in a local supermarket stacking shelves. It was a management trainee position, but, let's be truthful, it was stacking an awful lot of shelves for a long time. And whilst I was doing that, being taught whatever a management trainee is taught, since I am actually a numbers person, I am good at maths and I liked all the numeric stuff at school. And I don't know when, and I've been on so many podcasts and people ask me so many times, I really don't know when or why I suddenly decided I wanted to become an accountant. Okay. And the Hollywood films called The Accountant weren't out yet. This is going back a long time. So I went to accounting school, became an accountant, worked my way up.
And that was in the UK, I'm assuming.
That was in the UK, and then a little bit overseas. I was in China for a bit before I was put into Vietnam as the finance manager. of an oil company. And I obviously had worked my way all the way up to being a finance manager of a big oil company. When I left that company and I retired the first time, I started a company which was involved with accounting systems or financial ERP to make it sound a little bit more sexy. And as I was building that company and we were getting bigger, I realized that I'm a numbers person and I'm not great with people. I didn't think I was great with people. And so I looked for, what's my solution to this? And I sort of found a mathematical formula in the shape of psychometrics. Okay. So in the psychometrics industry, that's where you assess people and you are able to sort of uncover their behaviors and their traits and things like that. And it helps you understand a person more. So to me, it's like, hey, wouldn't it be nice to have the instruction manual for the person, rather than interview them and bit of potluck. Hopefully you got it right. Invariably you don't get it right. And this was driven by I was trying to scale, and as I got more and more people, I was having more and more people problems, and I was actually making very classic, silly hiring mistakes.
Sure.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Makes
I'm a bean can. I'm an accountant. So that's what I got caught up in. And so I started getting interested in people and getting more into that side. And I assess people to death. And because I understand them, in theory, I can help grow them better because I know how they think and how they act. And so we shape things for the person because we're all different, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And how one person learns is different from another. How one person should be managed is different from another because we are different. So I've been doing that for about 15 years now. About 5 years ago, or more than that, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, actually, there was a course being offered locally in Ho Chi Minh City because I was living in Vietnam at the time. And it was around coaching and mentoring. And it seemed interesting, but there was no way I was going to invest like 10 days or however long it was in that. But I found out I could just join day 1 and 2 or something like that, the first module. So I did that and I loved it. So I ended up doing the whole lot. And that started off my sort of journey into coaching and mentoring. And the reason for doing that is that thing appealed to me. But when I was actually doing the course, I realized that, a lot of what I've been doing is actually called coaching or mentoring.
Right. You were doing, you just didn't have any words associated with that, right? You were just.
Yeah, because I've been involved with on the people side, on the talent side, growing people, trying to hire the right people, put them in the right places, make sure that they're growing and evolving well, and really understanding them. And in order to do that, well, you actually got to sit with them and listen to them and ask them a bunch of questions. And since I'm usually a lot older than people, I have a lot of mentoring advice to give people in certain areas. And so, I had been accidentally coaching people and mentoring people. Yeah. And I just really enjoyed it. And so I gathered a few more certifications around it. That's what I do. And the certification thing, why so many of the damn things? Well, I said when I left school, I got the do not pass go. You're not allowed to go to university because you're not smart enough. That's left this massive chip on the shoulder here. And I like accumulating certifications to maybe prove to myself I'm not that daft.
Yeah. Well, I'd say you've done pretty well. So, well, that kind of.
Oh, the book. Yeah, I forgot about the book. The book.
Yeah, you've got 5. Business as usual. Yeah. I'm going to have to get that one. Normally.
Unusual, Paul. It's unusual. Okay.
Business as unusual.
That came out during the pandemic.
Okay.
Okay. Like, what do you do if you're locked up and you can't leave home type of thing? You can't go into work. You write a book, obviously. And the title really came from, the business networks and the people that I knew at the time, business leaders. Everybody was saying, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? As, the whole world is collapsing and people are running around like headless chickens. And a few people, few too many for my liking, kept saying, when this is over and we get back to business as usual. And that drove me up the wall. There's no going back to usual. Can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah.
And as we saw, as the pandemic evolved, and there was lockdown, then there wasn't, then there was, then there wasn't, and country was open, then it wasn't, then it was it was crazy.
Yeah. Think back
and
to
then
that
when
time.
all that was over,
crazy.
But it hasn't changed, has it, Paul?
No,
I mean, we've had geopolitical tensions, tariffs, wars, conflicts, you name it, Mother Nature at the moment, hurling the elements at us. There are all sorts of things happening, which are, challenging for everyone.
Yeah, pretty tumultuous time in this world, not just our countries, but between what's going on in the Middle East, in the Ukraine and Russia, like you said, tariffs, a lot of battles going on. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. Hopefully most of it will get ironed out.
Yeah, most of that will get ironed out and we'll be hit with something else.
Yeah, it's just the way it works, right? So
it's the way it works these days, yeah.
So, you get into this coaching. I guess, we could focus on a number of different things here, but talk about like mentoring and coaching. What are your key tenets? Like when you meet someone for the first time, what do you do? Like you meet me and I say, hey, Rick, I'd like to employ you for some coaching and mentoring. What do you do? How do you architect a program for me personally?
The first is, I'd arrange some session with you to find out if there's any chemistry between us at all. Do I like you? Do you like me? I mean, sometimes you meet people and you take an instant dislike to them. Yeah. I guess that hasn't happened because I'm on your show. We had a meeting last week.
But that's a great point. Right? That's a great point, though, Rick, because chemistry is an important thing in life in general. With your customers, your coworkers. Sometimes it's just not a good fit. It's just the way it goes sometimes.
Exactly, and with coaching or coaching specifically, is if I'm going to help coach, let's say I am, in this scenario, I'm going to coach you. If you don't trust me, it doesn't matter what I say.
Yeah.
Okay. If I don't trust that you're going to do the work, I'm wasting my time. So, we're not here to waste each other's time. So that chemistry, that spark needs to be there in the first place. And then the next thing is what we call the 200% commitment. I'm going to put 100% of my time and effort to make sure this works. And I'm expecting you to put in 100% of your time and effort to make sure it works. And therefore we get, we're putting in all that huge effort, and guess what? It usually ends up working. But if we're saying, nah, I'm not going to do that, I'll be half-assed about it type of thing, then again, it ain't going to work.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. And then we'll discuss, what really triggered you, what drove you to approach me to seek coaching or mentoring in the first place. And we'll go into that. Okay. And it's usually, for the people that I tend to coach, it's usually because I call them, they're stuck.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, as in they're trying to get from A to B and they're bashing their heads because they're still at A and they can't get to B and they don't know why.
Yeah.
All right. And they want to get out of it.
Yeah. And when you say stuck, do you mean professionally, personally, both? What are your thoughts there?
Usually I'm more on the professional side, but again, in the relationship that we end up having, there's always something personal that might pop into it. Always. Okay. It sort of bleeds into it. And it's very, very, very much about the individual. So again, if I'm coaching you, it's about you as an individual. And I can't just say, well, forget all this non-work stuff.
Yeah.
Just ignore that. Or, it may be something there that's just manifesting itself in work. You might be stressed outside of work, and that's manifesting in however you're behaving or how you're thinking at work.
Yeah.
So to ignore maybe that potential root cause wouldn't be doing you any wouldn't be serving you well. So that's what I usually look at. Is there chemistry between us? Are people prepared to put in the work? Do we really want to do this? And what the situation is, because I pick and choose.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's a two-way street, right? It's like, just like in sales, right? You've got customers. Sometimes you say to a customer, this isn't working out. Why don't you, I think you should pick another vendor and we'll shake hands and go our separate ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, we all have our boundaries and we have to respect them.
Yeah.
So as a coach, I have certain hard boundaries, and I have to respect my own and you, the coachee. And if I feel that I can't help you, I'm not going to help you.
Yeah, that's the right thing to do too. By the way, I respect I respect you for saying that, because some people just take the money and run, versus you would say, hey, I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah. And I've done, when I started off on my coaching journey, this is, a long time ago, well, I said about 8 years ago, is I said I'd attempt to coach anyone. And I was, I learned the hard way, like, don't take those type of engagements, because I just really hate them. Yeah. I really do not enjoy them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how professional I try and be, like, I need to disengage as fast as possible.
Yeah. And that's just experience too. I can tell you, as I've gotten older, I can sense something's not right pretty early on, you got to go with your instincts sometimes,
Now, the other thing is, you said coaching and mentoring. That's an interesting one, because there are, mentoring and coaching are two very different things.
Yeah. So Rick, we were talking about the difference between mentoring and coaching. How do you look at those two?
Okay. Well, one of my coaching certifications with ICF, the International Coaching Federation, Global Coaching Federation. And when we're doing pure coaching under that, it means that I give no advice, which means I don't mentor. All right. I do not have to be a subject matter expert about whatever the issue is that we are talking about, because my line of questioning is to coach. All right. So I'm uncovering things and trying to help you uncover your own path. Okay. However, and I can do that. I don't mind doing that style of coach if that's what people want, but it is not my preferred style. Okay. I'm finding that the people who approach me because who I am and my experience, and they know that I have experience in certain things, and they want to pick my brain around that in their context.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, I coach a lot of accountants, because I'm an accountant, and I can understand where they're coming from if they're struggling with the people side, if they're not a people person.
Yeah, you've lived that life.
Or if they're an introvert. Yeah, I've been there, done it. I've done the right things. I've also done the wrong things, and so I can really empathize where they are, and I can give them some mentoring experience. I can share my experience. I've actually done this. This works. That doesn't work. Okay, you can try both, because it might be the other way around for you.
Sure.
But if I was doing pure coaching, I'd have to say, okay, all right, you're asking for my advice on that. We're doing coaching, and I'm not going to be answering that question. All right. If you really want me to do that, maybe this once off, you will allow me to step out of coaching, and I'll give you a bit of mentoring. Okay. But if every second question you're asking he's asking me really for mentoring advice, then I'm jumping in and out.
Yeah.
And so I do a style of coaching as well is where I blend the two together. Okay. And I don't ask for permission anymore.
Yeah.
And you know that, we already blurred the lines. And if you go back to the book, there is a chapter in there, chapter 5, I believe, called Dungeon Coaching.
Okay.
Which is another style of coaching I have, which goes a little bit further. Because at the end of the day, we all know, or we all should know, that growth actually happens beyond your comfort zone.
100%.
Hence the dungeon, because I'm going to have to stretch you and inflict a little bit of pain
in the dungeon,
in order to make you grow in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Okay. But in order to, for you to let me into into the dungeon and let me stretch you and inflict pain, we really got to have that chemistry. You really got to have that trust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great point.
So basically, if you want dungeon coaching, and I said I'm going to get you from A to B, I will get you from A to B.
Yeah. No, that's a great point.
But you better be willing to do that work.
Yep.
I'm going to be, I'm going to be inflicting a bit of pain.
Yeah, I tell people
not physical.
Yeah, I tell my kids that, Rick. In order to get better at something, you've got to get out of your comfort zones. For instance, if it's public speaking that you're uncomfortable with, then you've got to get comfortable with that, either taking courses, doing it more, and normally you find that after you've done it for a while, it wasn't as bad as you thought.
Yeah, and you can start small.
Yeah,
an audience of 1, and then 2, then 3, then 4. But again, it's not practice makes perfect. It's deliberate practice makes perfect. You got to try the same thing again and again and again. It's like going to the gym as well.
Yeah.
You got to do your reps, but you got to do them in a certain way. And you might have to rip a few muscles to build it up more.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, actually. And it resonates with me because I've been going to the gym my whole life. So I'll probably be heading to the gym right after this call, by the way. So, but yeah, no, it's like, how do you build a muscle, right? Well, standing and looking at it, it's not going to grow. You've got to work it, right?
Absolutely.
Very nice. So are you actually working right now, Rick? Are you, outside of your own personal coaching and mentoring businesses, are you actually working on with any companies right now? Are you actually employing some of these skills with some corporation?
Oh, do you mean am I taking corporate coaching engagements?
Well, no, actually, are you still working as an accountant, as a CFO? Are those days gone for you?
No, I still do that. I mean, for one of the companies where I'm a co-founder, I'm also the CFO. That's a company called Great People Inside. It's a global assessment company, funnily enough. I stopped selling other people's assessments, and a group of us got together and we built a better one. So yeah, I still do the accounting for that. For my main company, TRG, where we do the financial ERP. Okay, I'm the CEO of that, but I still get involved on the accounting side, finance side, because that's who I am.
Yeah, that's your strength.
I can't stop it. And now I'm here in Switzerland. I've had to incorporate another company here, so yeah, I have to run that one as well. And it goes on and on and on.
God, how do you have the hours in the day to do all this?
I think it's manage your energy rather than your time. We all have the same amount of time, but we don't have the same amount of energy, and we don't recharge and we don't discharge our energy the same way. So really understanding myself on how much energy I have to do something, and balancing my time, balancing that energy. So putting into place senior leadership teams who actually do the work. That's one thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the work. I learned that, I was taught that a bit late. I I was taught that probably about 4 or 5 years ago, where I was on a coaching course for about a year, and the CEO of that company, a guy called Vishen Lakiani, who's the head of Mind Valley, he said that as a business owner, you shouldn't be working more than 21 hours a week, which translates to 3 days. And he said the reasoning behind that, because he was taught that by a billionaire who said, hey, do all your meetings, do all your work on those 3 days, keep that long weekend free. So when the opportunities do materialize, and they will, you can jump on a plane, fly to the other side of the planet, do the deal, learn about whatever you had to learn and come back. Okay. And it's about putting in the people, which includes the systems, to get stuff done.
Yeah.
So the big thing that we've all experienced, whether we like it or not, over the last, 2 years or is it 3 years now, is the advent of generative AI.
Yeah.
ChatGPT and all the others. How, people like myself, an entrepreneur, a business leader, how am I as a CEO or a CFO and or a business leader, how am I utilizing AI to make me more productive? Or I flip it around another way. What stuff can I automate so I don't have to do it and it still gets done and gives me more free time to do whatever I want to do with my free time?
Yeah. And I think
not necessarily more work.
Yeah. And I see that that seems to be one of the biggest problems with companies is putting a system in place where the owners aren't working 80 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
I see it all the time. And I think a lot of these owners get stuck where they don't know what to do.
Yep.
They don't know how to get over the hump. And that's some of the coaching and leadership things that you can probably help with, I'm assuming.
Yeah, sure can. I think there are 3 main areas where I believe that sort of, I'll call them busy executives, and I'm really focusing it on SMEs, the small to medium enterprises, which, if you actually look at it, is 99% of the companies on the planet.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And they really, I'll call, struggle or get stuck or are in a firefighting loop all the time in 3 areas. One is growth. Okay. The other one is technology, and we just mentioned new technology coming in. That's a big challenge for everyone. And the third one is talent, is people. Okay. But to look at it another way, to me, the root cause of everything is talent. So if you think of a tree, the talent of the roots, the technology is the trunk, and the growth are really the branches.
Sure.
Okay. But beneath it all is talent, is the people, and we're stuck with trying to hire the right people or trying to get the right people into the right place doing the right thing. And why is that happening? Well, an awful lot of SME entrepreneurs and leaders, they're not HR folks.
Yeah.
They're a brilliant engineer. They're even an accountant or a fantastic salesperson or a marketer or whatever they are. The majority of them are not people. They are not HR people. And so maybe HR is it's something that HR person does and ends up being a bit of the noise in the background of they got some engagement thing that was supposed to sort out or whatever, right? And we're trying to grow the company. And then, we ignore it. And then guess what? It lights a new fire, and now we've got a new fire to put out. So I still think that talent or these people issues are the root cause of everything. We need to get really, really, really need to get that right.
Yeah.
And if we get that right, the rest is easier.
But
I didn't say
so
easy.
What advice would you give a company, an SME, type company that to hire the right people, what advice would you give them? What can you do to make, you're never going to be 100%, but if you can reduce that to a very small number and hire quality people, that would be the goal.
Well, I mean, one way is to look backwards. Why are we hiring people? What's caused us to hire people? Is that because we've got rid of people? Because they were the wrong people? What made them the wrong people in the first place?
What specifically?
What made them the wrong people? Is it they didn't fit with our culture? Usually they didn't fit with our culture. All right, so are we clear about what our culture is? Are we checking to see that they're going to fit our culture in the first place? Now, one way is you can use assessments. All right. Yeah, of course I'm going to say that. I'm biased. But I'll be honestly here. Yes, you can use assessment. That's what lots of the big companies do. All right. And people might be saying, but we're not a big company. We're a little company. We can't afford it. Hogwash. These things are not expensive. They really aren't. Yeah. And if it's going to save you having to avoid hiring the wrong person, which is blooming expensive, go use assessment. So what's the point of the assessment? The easiest analogy that I give to it is we're all unique people. All right. So if we assess a person, we get the unique shape of a person. Wonderful. Okay. I'm shaped one way and Paul, you are shaped another way. The next thing we do is we look at the job roles we're trying to fill and we work out what the shape is of that job role or that job. Okay. And just put the right peg in the right hole.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I know it's kind of a high level view, but that completely makes sense. If the skill set a person has doesn't fit the skill set for the role, it's not going to work.
Well, one is skill set. Okay, so hard, they're the more harder skills, and I'd say they're easier to teach. The other one is really the soft skills or the behaviors of a person. And they're things that are hard to teach because if that's an ingrained behavior somebody has, then it's very, very difficult to change. So I'll take I know you're in sales, Paul. So let's pick something like assertiveness. Okay? If we're looking at how assertive a person is, now to an extent, would you say a salesperson needs to be quite assertive?
Yeah, 100%. I mean.
Okay. And now, not everybody is assertive. Okay. So if you find a completely unassertive person and you want them to be some high-powered salesperson and you want them to act assertive, well, that's a disaster waiting to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And unless that person really wants to change themselves, and that could take some years, it's going to be a wrong hire. And that's just assertiveness. Another one could be sociability. Okay. If you're expecting your salesperson to go out and network like crazy, go into that room of strangers and, actually connect to people, then you might want someone who's a bit more outgoing, more sociable.
Yeah.
All right. If you take a complete introvert who hates crowds and even speaking to other people, again, you've got a disaster on your hands. These are just some really simplistic, different dimensions.
No, but it proves it makes a good point though. Just trying to get the right fit for the right person.
Yeah, I mean, and let's take some. Let's what's another one? So okay, assertiveness. I could say, all right, is a policeman an assertive person? Usually, yes. Yeah. Is a librarian an assertive person?
Not
Usually,
really.
No. Okay. I mean, so if we take different traits and we look at, different scales of jobs, the trait is needed differently. Okay. So just because someone is high on assertiveness doesn't mean that they're a better candidate than the other person. They're only the better candidate if the role requires that.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So maybe if the role was, I don't know, What doesn't require assertiveness? I'm trying to think of a role that doesn't require assertiveness. Maybe, the receptionist. You don't want the receptionist to be so assertive and to tell, oh, Paul, you've come, Paul, you came for a meeting. You are 2 minutes late. Now you sit over there and until this person's ready, you're walking out the door.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's a good.
You've just been upset.
Yeah. That's great. So do you do like company-wide trainings, or are you more focused on individuals?
I can do company-wide trainings. I do trainings. I can do a lot of things. I can train the individual or the company. I can coach an individual. I can coach teams. So I can do all of it. And I must say that I'm now tending to move more towards my authoring, mainly because if I'm out of all the styles of coaching I do, I prefer the one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
But then I am a bottleneck. I'm only one person, and I can only help one person at a time. Okay? But I want to help more than one person.
Yeah.
How can I help 100 people? How can I help 1,000 people? How can I help how can I help tens of thousands? How can I have a much bigger impact? And I can't do that if I'm doing one-to-one interaction.
Yeah.
They're not enough hours for me to do that. So I'm doing it more around the authoring, writing, newsletters, giving people, the sort of new direction I'm going in is I know that as executives, we're all busy, but we get distracted and stuck and we can't make a decision about something. Okay. It doesn't really matter what it is. And we don't have time to research it to death. We just say, give me the answer now. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
That's what I'm trying to
talk
do.
About scaling. I completely agree. That's why you write books. You have newsletters. You do different. You have a website to kind of get the word out there globally. But you sound like you like the people contact, though. You like the one-on-one. It sounds like you enjoy that. Let's put it that way.
I do and I don't, because as you've all guessed, I'm a complete introvert. I'm an accountant.
Yeah.
Okay. It's taken me more than a decade to change and appear to be a little bit more extroverted. Okay. But yes, I can engage with people. I can go to that networking. I can do all that. And I'm completely drained having done it. I really enjoy it. It goes well, but I'm absolutely flat dead after it.
Yeah. Well, that's like you said, that
drains the battery.
That's getting out of your comfort zone, but you recognize that. I think that's half the battle too, is knowing what your comfort zone is and knowing I have to get out of that comfort zone and recognizing it.
So, because of that is, if I continue to do that, I'll burn myself out.
Yeah.
All right. So I have to approach it a different way. And I've identified I can do it more through authoring, or I can build some fancy app.
Sure.
to help.
Yeah.
Or to automate myself.
Yeah. Well, they have
use AI.
Rick, they have cloning now, so you can just clone yourself, right?
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, yeah, I can clone myself. I have created video avatars of myself, so I can deploy some of the online training I do and the online courses I create faster.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So what's next up on the horizon for you? Any new endeavors or ventures outside of the million things you get going on now?
It would be to continue to harden up the boundaries, okay, and continue to work on saying no to things. I have a tendency to say yes. People ask for help, and I go yes, yes, yes. I go, oh no, and if I say yes, I'm going to do something. I'm going to help them. then I will. But then, I'm doing myself a disservice.
Yeah.
Even though I help them. So, yeah.
No, I was going to say, but do you think that's natural? Most of us want to say yes, right?
I know. Yes, it can be natural, but I think it's there's still a need to put in boundaries. You can't say yes to everything, because saying yes to one thing means you're saying no to something else.
Yeah.
We do not have unlimited time and energy. And unfortunately, with especially business owners, entrepreneurs, they say yes to everything. They put 200% into their little baby, which is called their business, and forget about themselves, their own health.
Yeah.
And then, wonder why they're lying in a hospital. They're doing themselves a disservice. So if you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Yeah. So for those of you business owners listening to this, you saying yes, yes, yes all the time to your business, what are you actually saying no to? And that's a coaching question.
Yeah.
When you're saying yes to something, what are you saying no to?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, Rick. I never kind of looked at it that way, but that is a great point.
Or another thing is like, what have you said no to this week? That's again testing what your boundaries are like.
Yeah, awesome.
Because if you're the person who's always saying yes and actually doing it, well, that's why everybody's coming to you and giving you even more work, because you're the one person who says yes and actually gets it done. Because everyone else, guess what? They're saying no and they're going home.
Great point. Yeah, that Rick guy, he says yes to everything. Just ask him.
So, and it's very, very hard to change that habit.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Because, hey, if you're the go-to person, everybody's coming to you every day, Paul, because you're great and you're wonderful, and they're asking your advice, and they're like, hey, where's the time for me to do my actual job?
Yeah. Well, Rick, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
The best, come to my website, which is my name, Rick Yvanovich. Or if you don't want to go to my website, just Google my name and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can find me on my website, which is my name. You'll find me on pretty much any social media, which, funny enough, is also my name. Yep. Or as I say, just Google me and you will find me, because I'm the only person on this planet with my name.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little bit unusual.
And it's YVANOVICH for you folks out there that want to look Rick up.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you find me, please connect to me. If you have questions, ask. At worst, I am not going to be able to help.
That's right.
But if you don't ask,
you don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's great, Rick. I've really enjoyed having you on the show. I always love having international folks on. Being an American, we kind of tend to think a certain way, right? And it's always nice to have people from different countries on, different strategies, different theories. And so I always like to listen to what you have to say, people like you. So I really appreciate you being on the show today.
Okay. So thanks for that, Paul. And I want everyone to... I want to leave everybody with another thought, which is a bit of a repeat. And that's for everybody to remember that you're not just a participant in this ever-changing world, but you're really an architect shaping the course of your own life, your own career, and the world around you. I encourage you all to embrace the change and define it rather than just react and adapt to it. Be that catalyst in your own business as unusual world, because the transformation always starts with you. Now, I'm really eager to hear about your journeys. So, Paul, thank you so much. I'm really grateful that you've allowed me for coming on your show. and allowing your listeners to listen to me. It's been a real fun conversation.
Yeah, same here, Rick.
And I really hope the listeners have enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
And to all listeners, please, 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 thank you again for all your time and attention. And I really look forward to hearing from some of you, learning from your experiences, and perhaps sharing some more in-depth discussions.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Paul.
You're welcome, Rick. And we'll end it on that note. So that's a wrap for another edition of the Business Brains and the Bottom Line podcast. My name is Paul D'Allegro, signing off until next time.